Hello everybody, Marty the Off-Grid Gecko here, and hopefully I will be using this video to invite you to my new channel, or my new, what do you call it, playlist. I'm going to start a playlist. Woo, playlist! So I've been doing a lot of thinking, move this over here so I don't shake the whole table as I do this, about the kind of videos that I want to shoot, and some of the stuff that I want to talk about, and sort of where my little niche is going to be. And so I've done a lot of thinking on this, and I think one of the things that I want to talk about is actually primitive technology, and talking about it in terms of like modern physics and modern science, because that is one thing that I'm uniquely able to do. I mean, I have a background in physics. I was an engineer in the oil field for 10 years. Not that that matters to anything, but I do understand a little bit about geology on that front. I'm a big chemical nerd nowadays, and I've been studying, I've been studying history with a lot of my spare time when it comes to writing books, and then revisiting old technology for stories that I write. Starting with the first one that I wrote that was never published, The Sword of Valhalla. I did a lot of research into the history of that time period from 7th and 8th centuries, and that particular location, because depending on where you go in the world, there's different technology being developed in different orders. Like ancient China had paper money before everybody, a long time ago. I don't remember the exact century, but it was a long time ago. And I remember that because on the back of every banknote was printed something in Chinese that would basically amounted to counterfeiters will be decapitated, and that kind of thing. Yeah, so even though a lot of the history stuff I didn't really care for when I was in high school, I got in college and I started paying more attention to history, learning a lot about science, and overloaded. And I'm living out here off-grid, so I'm getting more in tune with like making my own stuff. I mean, I built my own house, but I got all this stuff for this house from the lumber store, 90% of it. So my next couple, I might even do a thing on like bushcrafting and stuff like that, or I may keep that for my regular channel. But one thing that I'm doing, like right now, I actually have a video on potash, which I'm getting ready to put up, and that'll be the first video of this series, how it's made, and some of the common misconceptions about potash that bloggers keep repeating, even though the data is wrong. And even though there's frequently comments telling them that their data is wrong, they don't ever seem to want to change their tune on them. So I'm trying to put out good information that's not available everywhere, and sort of point out some of these misconceptions and misunderstandings about science, and stuff like that. So I made some potash. I think behind me on the wood stove you can see that steel pot. It's basically filled with this stuff, and this stuff is the dried potash that I got from the first batch, with only minimal purification done to it. And I found out it had this color in it, for instance, and everybody attributes this color to iron content in the potash, and it is not iron content that is causing this color, because if it was iron content, it wouldn't burn off when I just put a bowl of the stuff back in the wood stove to refire. So this is actually a tar, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure it's a tar that I'm looking at here. And it burns off like a tar. It leaves a residue on the bowl like a tar would. So I think the incomplete combustion caused it to be just little things like that. As everybody says, this is iron content. Well, no, it's not, because it would still be in there, and when I put a magnet to the ashes, not all iron molecules will do it, but a lot of iron molecules are still attracted to magnets, and none of this is. So, yeah, or at least the amount's so small that I can't detect it. So anyways, little stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff like that that's going to be in the series of videos on making potash, but I'm also planning on rebuilding my fire kiln completely from scratch, because I originally built the kiln from straw and mud. So now I'm just refining that process as well, and I'm going to get some better mud to make like actual good clay, and then use the clay either in brick form or just build a clay oven and fire it, or I haven't figured out the specifics. It depends on how much clay I can find time to dig out of the ground, but things like that. And all these little things are technologies that took, according to science, hundreds of thousands of years to develop. So we're basically going on a timeline from 300,000 years ago to present day stuff, and working our way through all these little technologies, because people have had access to stuff that's almost magical in nature, that our entire society is built upon, but most people aren't aware of it or how simple it actually is. And even the people that are doing the crude recovery of stuff, you know, people that are recovering stuff like this, I mean, like, woo, wow, it's magical. Well, I actually want to take this and refine this into a more pure form of potash, and then take it to the next step and actually make potassium hydroxide and be like, this is your potassium hydroxide, not the stuff that you got from the wood ash. So going through all those processes, and it's all stuff that can be made with primitive technology. So ancient people were a hell of a lot smarter than we give them credit for, especially around the Egyptian Empire, the Roman Empire. Like, those were really high points in history for humans as a species. And a lot of that technology hasn't been lost. It's just glossed over and overlooked nowadays, to the point because people don't understand. The people that are studying history don't understand the science that goes into these things. So, and then you, of course, get all these alien conspiracy theorists that are like, well, they couldn't have done this unless blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, they could. If you understand the technology, how it's used, and you put designated people to that craft and be like, you guys just do this thing, just do this one thing and keep doing it, and you group over here, you do this thing. And they basically had an assembly line kind of thing set up, but it was set up through commerce, not inside of a factory all the time. So stuff like that, I think I'd be good at talking about stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do this primitive technology thing, and hopefully you guys like the videos. I will try to upload the other video very shortly after I upload this video, so I can start the series off with like some data there. And I may actually do another video in that group tonight, because I'm going to give the soap making thing another try with just the raw potash. The first one didn't, I think I had the lard too hot. Number one, didn't have enough alkali. Number two, and number three, that was just an extra experiment that I had sitting around on my counter. So I was like, yeah, we'll give it a try and see what it does. And didn't quite work out like I wanted. So learning a lot about that, because I don't know a lot about making soap, but I learn fast. So we'll start with ash and lye and soap and things of that nature, and then we'll move on to bigger, better things like smelting aluminum. Even though ancient people didn't smelt aluminum, but we can melt it, and then we'll get the basic idea for like how you, and smelting, right? Like, if there's iron rocks around here everywhere, so if I can figure out how to set up a smelter and I can get my anvil over here out of storage, then I would love to like smelt some iron, just to say that I did. Just pull out this lump of iron and beat it down into an ingot. Now if that's all the farther that I get with it, then cool, you know, I did it. Check that off the bucket list. So I hope you stay tuned, stick around, subscribe, because I'm going to be doing some really cool stuff. And I'm going to be talking about like the science behind some of this stuff, and breaking everything down basically to the point where I think anybody, even if you don't understand all the science stuff, pretty much anybody can go out and understand the basic principles behind a lot of these things, and grasp the understanding that the ancient people had, that, oh, if you take these rocks and you cook them in this kind of furnace, then you're going to get this out of the other side. And also talk about why some people fail. Hell, I might even make some ferrofluid, you never know. But anyways, this is getting long, so that's it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more all this cool stuff that I'm brewing up, and leave me a comment if there's any kind of ancient primitive technology that you think would be kind of cool to learn. And I'll see if I can go ahead and slate that into my schedule and do some videos on it. Thanks for watching. You guys watching this channel is basically makes it worth my time to put this information out there and to do these little videos, because they do eat up a lot of my time. So I really appreciate you sticking around and watching if you're at this part of the video, and I really hope that you enjoy everything that you see that I'm posting now and all the stuff to come in the near future. And with that, I will let you go so you can get back to your videoing. Have fun, stay safe, and we'll see you later.